Photovoltaic panels dominate U.S. solar. $28 billion in federal incentives, 95% flowing to PVI. But a $200 glass tube captures 95% of incoming solar radiation as heat. PV panels convert around 20. In 1976, a U.S. government lab confirmed these tubes performed through sub-zero winters. Then the technology all but vanished from the American market. The reason isn't the physics, it's everything built around it. Photovoltaic panels convert about 1/5 of the sunlight that strikes them into electricity. Evacuated tube solar collectors, by contrast, routinely capture more than 90% of incoming solar energy as heat. The difference starts with the way each technology handles sunlight and heat loss. A standard PV cell uses a flat silicon wafer. Sunlight hits the surface and only a narrow slice of the spectrum, mostly visible and near-infrared, gets converted into electricity. The rest is lost as heat or reflected away. On a sunny day, a good PV panel might reach 20% efficiency, and on a cloudy day or in high temperatures, real-world output drops even lower. Evacuated tube collectors take a different approach. Each tube is made of 2 concentric glass cylinders, with the space between them pumped down to a near vacuum, about 100,000th of atmospheric pressure, or 10 to the -5 bar. This vacuum acts like the insulation in a thermos flask, blocking heat loss by conduction and convection. Inside, a selective absorber coating lines the inner glass, engineered to soak up nearly the entire solar spectrum, while reflecting away thermal infrared. Laboratory tests at Fraunhofer, Argonne, and other research centers have measured optical capture rates between 92 and 95%, even in sub-zero conditions. What sets evacuated tubes apart is their ability to hold onto that captured energy. In most solar devices, heat escapes easily to the surrounding air, especially in cold or windy weather. The vacuum envelope in these tubes suppresses almost all non-radiative losses. That means the dominant way for heat to escape is as infrared radiation from the absorber itself, a much smaller pathway than convection or conduction. As a result, the system's efficiency stays high, whether the outside temperature is below freezing or in the summer heat. This temperature independence makes evacuated tubes especially suited for climates with harsh winters or frequent cloud cover. Field data from Norway, Germany, and the American Midwest show that thermal efficiency holds steady, often 60 to 80%, even when the air is well below 0 degrees Celsius. PV panels in the same conditions see their output plunge, sometimes to 10% or less. For a typical homeowner, a 20-tube evacuated collector can be bought for around $200. The kit contains the glass tubes, a manifold, and basic mounting hardware. Once installed, it can deliver thousands of kilowatt-hours of hot water or space heating each year, with almost no moving parts and minimal maintenance. Over a lifespan of 25 years or more, performance degradation is typically less than 5%. The underlying science of vacuum barrier, selective coating, and simple heat transfer explains how these glass tubes extract nearly all available solar energy, regardless of weather. The numbers are not theoretical. Repeated lab and field studies confirm the physics, and the results have been consistent for decades. In the winter of 1976, a research team at Argonne National Laboratory put evacuated tube solar collectors to the test on a residential rooftop outside Chicago. The experiment was no laboratory simulation. With snow on the ground and air temperatures swinging from -5 to 15 degrees Celsius, the team measured how much sunlight these glass tubes could convert into usable heat. Their findings were unambiguous. Even in the heart of a Midwest winter, the tubes sustained thermal efficiencies between 60% and 80%. The test house's water tank steadily climbed in temperature, despite wind gusts up to 4 meters per second. By tracking the heat gain in the storage tank and the incoming solar energy, the Argonne group confirmed that the vacuum barrier inside each tube suppressed almost all heat loss to the frigid air. The result was a nearly flat efficiency curve. Performance barely changed as the temperature outside dropped. For every kilowatt of sunlight hitting the array, more than half was delivered as hot water, season after season. Decades later, researchers in Oslo set out to see if modern evacuated tubes could match or exceed those early results under even harsher conditions. A 6-square-meter array was installed on a residential building, facing months of short daylight, heavy cloud, and temperatures plunging to -10 degrees Celsius. Over the course of a full winter, the system delivered an average of 14.7 kilowatt-hours of heat per day, enough to meet the daily hot water needs of a family of 4. The measured thermal efficiency hovered at 70%, with peak values reaching 78% on clear days. Wind and sub-zero temperatures had little effect. Data loggers showed that optical capture rates stayed above 90%, mirroring the best laboratory numbers from Fraunhofer and confirming the tube's ability to absorb nearly all available solar energy, even in polar twilight. Degradation over the 5-month trial was less than 1%, a sign of robust materials and stable vacuum seals. Across these decades and continents, the evidence tells a consistent story. Whether in the American Midwest or the Norwegian winter, evacuated tube collectors prove their reliability and efficiency in the cold. Their performance is not a theoretical claim, it's a documented fact, measured by independent teams and confirmed by real-world results. This consistent field record stands in stark contrast to the policy and market realities that have kept the technology on the sidelines in the United States. The path to mainstream adoption of evacuated tube solar collectors in the United States runs straight into a thicket of policy and industry barriers. The investment tax credit, first established in 2005, set the tone by tying federal solar incentives almost exclusively to electricity-generating systems. Its statutory language specifies solar electric property, a definition that excludes any technology producing heat without making electricity. As a result, more than 95% of $28 billion in federal solar funding, distributed from 2006 to 2023, flowed to photovoltaic manufacturers, large-scale solar farms, and residential PV installer rebates. Less than 0.5% reached solar thermal research or pilot projects, and none went to residential evacuated tube systems. This funding asymmetry shapes the entire installer workforce. The North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, or NABCEP, is the main credentialing body for solar professionals. For over a decade, its curriculum focused almost entirely on PV design and installation. Only in 2018 did a single elective on solar thermal appear, and today, over 95% of certified installers still specialize in PV. The economic incentives follow the same pattern. A PV installer earns 3 to 5 times more per job, thanks to the ITC-driven rebates and higher labor margins. By contrast, a $200 DIY evacuated tube kit leaves little room for profit or professional involvement. On the supply side, Chinese manufacturers have produced more than 168 million square meters of evacuated tube collectors, driving kit prices down to $150 to $400 per residential system. Yet without U.S. incentives, certification pathways, or installer demand, these kits are rarely marketed to American homeowners. The result is a feedback loop. Policy channels money to PV, certification programs train for PV, installers sell PV, and the most efficient, low-cost solar thermal hardware remains invisible in the U.S. residential market. Alex, a homeowner in Minnesota, ordered a 20-tube evacuated solar kit online for just under $200. The kit arrived with glass tubes, a copper manifold, mounting brackets, and basic plumbing hardware. Over a weekend, Alex installed the array on his south-facing roof, connected the loop to a standard water tank, and filled it with glycol. No electrician, no permit, no utility paperwork, just a few hours of careful assembly and a willingness to follow the manual. Through the first winter, data from a simple flow meter and temperature sensors showed the system delivered about 2,500 kilowatt-hours of thermal energy, offsetting natural gas that would have cost $250 at local rates. The entire outlay paid itself back in less than a year, and the system required little more than an occasional rinse to keep the tubes clear. Alex's experience is not an outlier. When the numbers are run using standard economic models, the logic holds up. The levelized cost of heat, the total lifetime cost divided by the energy produced, lands between 1 and 3 cents per kilowatt-hour for a DIY evacuated tube kit. By comparison, the levelized cost of electricity from a typical home PV system falls between 6 and 12 cents per kilowatt-hour, even after accounting for tax credits and rebates. The upfront cost for PV, including permits and labor, often exceeds $20,000. The tube kit, even with every part itemized, rarely breaks $400. Over a 25 to 30-year lifespan, the glass tubes lose less than 5% of their performance, and maintenance is mostly a matter of checking fluid and cleaning the glass. For a homeowner willing to spend a weekend on installation, the payback period is measured in months, not years. On a cost per unit of energy basis, the evacuated tube system quietly outperforms every other residential solar technology on the market. The numbers are transparent, the savings are real, and the logic is difficult to ignore. Today, a $200 evacuated tube can capture nearly 5 times more solar energy than a typical PV panel. Yet federal credits and installer networks overwhelmingly steer homeowners elsewhere. As policy and market definitions lag behind technical evidence, the true potential of solar remains untapped. The next move is ours.